Hey, what's up everybody? This is your boy Kenny, and this is the Haves and the Have-Nots Season 6, Episode 31, and the name of this episode is The Chosen. This episode was really fucking good, and I can't wait to talk about it because, let's just say, Jim Cryer had me so fucking angry. Woo, I just can't wait to tell y'all about that because I'm definitely gonna let Jim have it with his sorry ass. Alright, so let me begin. The episode picks up where it left off. Candace goes into her hotel room at the Artesian, and guess who's up in there? Charles, the new president-elect. And pretty much she was saying that, so what we see is that Candace is trying to get him to leave, and she's like, I'm gonna call the cops. He says that, oh no, I had this whole place swept. No phone will work until after I leave. And he lets it be known I'm the president-elect, and, you know, Candace is like, okay, you're the president-elect. Shouldn't you be in your hometown? This ain't your hometown. Why are you here? He said that, no, I came here, you know, to see you. And the reason why I'm here is because you make a great candidate. And she's like, a candidate for what? He lets her know First Lady, because, you know, that was his aim. But then she was like, oh, I'm not doing shit, so you need to go somewhere with that. You know, I'm not going to be First Lady, so you need to get the hell out of here and leave. And he begins to read her rights. He was like, oh, you've been real busy since I've been gone. Let's see. You've been running this prostitution ring here at the Artesian. You pushed old boy out the window who was trying to take us down. We thank you for that because you know, that's the reason why, you know, we chose you. And then you also had the situation where you killed Quincy, and I was trying to put it on your brother, but you decided not to. So instead, it got pinned on Jeffrey. Jeffrey Harrington. So it's like he knows everything, and that's really one of the things that Candace doesn't like, is that he knows everything about her, but she knows little about him. And pretty much she was saying that, well, either you leave or I'll go out there and I will find a committee and I'll tell them everything. And he was like, you got a lot to learn. And she was like, well, how about I make it more plain for you? And then this fool said, what if I slap the shit out of you? Would that be clear enough? I was like, oh, damn. Are you trying to be like Wayne Brady and trying to choke a bitch? Like, that shit was crazy. I was like, damn, Charles. You getting real gangster as hell with that, ain't you? I'm like, you getting real gangster with that, aren't you? So I was way like, damn. But then he was like, look, I know I would never want to do something like that to you, but it seems to me you like that type of shit. You like people to be rough with you. You like people treating you, you know, dirty, and you're used to that. You're not used to someone treating you nice or actually, you know, giving you an opportunity. You know, and that you just got accustomed to foolishness. And she was saying, well, why would you say that? Because, and he was like, well, because I just offered you freedom, and yet you insult me. And, you know, Candace was like, well, you got all these opportunities. You got all these women that you can go for. Why me? And he says that, yeah. We have tried to find other women, but they were boring. They didn't keep my interest. You know, I want you because you keep my interest. You're perfect for, you know, being on my side. You know, that's real power. You know, and you don't have to no longer beg for what you need. And I'm like, yeah, Candace, as much as you like the scheme, this sounds like a win-win, but then again, Candace likes being in control, so that's the reason why. And then he also tells her that, look, I know right now you're doing all of this stuff because you're still, you know, grieving the loss of your son. You haven't and he tells her that you haven't even fully grieved him. You keep his ashes, you know, in your suitcase. And she's like, damn, did you go through my stuff too? I'm like, that's the thing she doesn't like. Charles has the upper hand, and she doesn't like anybody having the upper hand. But at that moment, she starts to break down a little bit, and she was like, I'm angry because he didn't deserve that. He was innocent, you know. And then my mother is saying, you know, this happened because, you know, because of all the choices I made. You know, he said, and he's like, and she asks him, would you agree with that? And he says, yeah. I'm like, yeah, boo-boo, you are partly responsible, but yet you are not alone. I have to say all of them had a hand in why little Quincy met the demise that he did. You know, definitely with, you know, Benny trying to kill Quincy. Quincy lived and then drove a car into Hannah's house. So Benny's the reason why Hannah ain't got no damn house, you know. And then Hannah, instead of, you know, getting that apartment that she's in right now, she chose to go to that Fountain Drop motel, and little Quincy was in danger and there was no escape. And then Candace setting all these damn traps that always comes back on her family as well as herself. So, but then she says that, look, I'm not going to do this with you. And he says that, why won't you do it? And give me a reason. And she said that because there's something wrong with you. You want to make a woman who was an escort, a former escort, you want me to be on your side. I don't trust that shit. You know, you have all my info and I don't know anything about you. And she says that, look, this situation doesn't feel good. You know, I know in my gut something's not right about this. But then he lets her know that, look, this is your last chance, because after I get into the White House, I won't be able to have any contact. You know, it's just going to be pretty much me and my administration, and that's who I'm going to be in contact with. I will no longer have access to the outside world because, one, he's waiting for his inauguration in January. He just got elected. But yeah, at his inauguration, you know, he will pretty much be, you know, the commander-in-chief. And pretty much he lets her know, well, I think you need to change your mind because I'm not leaving here without you. Then, next thing you know, we get oh yeah, I'm gonna wait about that. Well, I'll talk about it now. So then, afterwards, we get a scene where Madeline and Landon come in. Madeline was the woman that was working with Landon on the campaign, and she was telling Landon that he needed to keep his dick in his pants because, you know, you cannot ruin this whole thing with Charles. So we see that Madeline comes in there with a stylist. They're talking about, you know, we found right clothes, and pretty much Madeline was like, oh yes, honey, I'm the lady that cleaned you up, and what's in our closet? Oh yeah, hoe clothes. We got to get rid of that. And then she was saying that, oh, and I actually want to see your body. And she's like, are you paying? She's like, huh, cute. But I want to see your body because, you know, I want to make sure that you can actually fit these clothes because you kind of look like you need some slim fast. Like, that bitch was just going in. And Candace was like, do you realize that I'm actually right here while you two bitches are talking shit? And he was like, oh, and then Landon was like, oh yes, those hoe clothes are not going to work for where you're going. And she's like, I'm not going any damn where. So eventually Madeline leaves, and then Landon and Candace talk, and Landon lets her know that, look, we tried to set him up with some of the best women, Southern Belles, but no, he wants this trashy, you know, escort, you know, prostitute, fat ass bitch, and this is what we got to work with. And he's letting her know that, look, you don't have a choice. It is what it is. You've been chosen. And, you know, the deal is, yeah, in his campaign, it worked well for him being a single father of 2 children. But now that he's president, he needs a wife. And you are the perfect candidate to stand by his side. And I have to admit, in some aspect, she is. She's just as grimy and just as treacherous and just as sneaky as he is. So that's what happened there. Then we see Mitch is at the Iron Bone with with like, I think like both of them are his cousins, and they're telling him that, look, Benny is still marked and everybody is out there looking for him because Benny owes interest on the money that he borrowed. And Mitch was like, look, why won't you just call it off? And they like, shit, we can't call it off. The only person that can stop this is Mama Rose, and Mama Rose, you need to get access to her and you need to handle this, because if you want us to stop this, that's the only way it's gonna stop. And then they start kind of joning on him, saying like, so what's this deal with you and Benny? What, y'all, was he like a $9 bill, or y'all fruity or something? And he pretty much told them to go to hell. And he was like, look, don't tell me that. I used to change your diapers, boy. And they're like, look, you know how the way things go. You have to pay interest if you borrow money. He needs to pay that interest or we're going to kill him. So what he ends up doing is that he calls Benny. Benny is still sitting at the bank with Hannah, debating whether he's going to sign the paper. And I just knew it, that this boy was going to be on some bullshit. But then pretty much Mitch calls Benny. Benny steps out and talks to him. Mitch lets him know that, look, it's still on. And he's like, but I gave you the money back. But he's like, it doesn't matter. They want interest on it. And I'm like, Benny, you fucking idiot. Didn't Uncle Vinny tell you when he gave you that money that he gonna want his interest and you got about a certain amount of weeks to start paying? He did let your ass know that, and yet you still took the fucking deal. So, dude, you putting your own life in danger being so fucking reckless, trying to get rich quick. Just like your damn sister. So pretty much he tells Mitch, I'm gonna get the money. And I knew from that moment he was gonna go back into that damn room, was gonna do some bullshit. Because next thing you know, we see Hannah and Benny there, and he pretty much refuses to sign the paper. And she's like, why are you doing this? But then he's like, but what if it's true? What if somebody's trying to hurt Candace? I'm like, nigga, shut up. You know damn well ain't nobody trying to hurt your damn sister. You know damn well that your sister sent somebody over there to hurt your mother, and yet you're still trying to put this shit on Candace. Fool, you don't want to give up that money because you know damn well you owe them a loans. And Hannah is just had it. She's like, why are you still always falling in her trap? Why do you always believe her in her lies? Like, she's lied time and time again, and yet you still want to believe her. Because of her, she's part of the reason why her son is dead. All of her sins are always coming back to haunt us, and you constantly get caught in her trap. But he was like, no, I'm not signing. I'm not signing. And he literally puts the pen in and just like, I'm not signing. I'm just not doing it. And just walked the fuck out. And I'm like, Benny, you are the most self-righteous asshole walking. Because I kind of noticed this about Benny. Benny likes to play both of them against each other. And Benny sometimes be the main one in the middle. It's like he backpedals between the both of them. He be all for Candace for the bullshit when the money's there and everything. But then when shit falls apart, then he's team Hannah. Candace, you a liar. You always telling lies. You always doing this. But then you go back and believe the bitch again. Like, serious Benny. As I said before, Benny was that little boy who was walking around with a dirty pamper with cowboy boots on, eating a bowl of, Captain Crunch with no milk, playing with a CNC. That's Benny. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, just the dumbest motherfucker walking. And it's crazy. So then, we get a scene with Hannah and Catherine. Catherine, Hannah tells Catherine that, look, it's not good. The money's still in my account, and Benny won't sign it over. But then he was like, and then of course Catherine was like, well, why won't he sign it over? And she said, because of my damn daughter. My damn daughter was behind this shit. And then next thing you know, but then I said that, yeah, that's what you think. You think he wants to keep the money because of Candace. No, he wants to keep it because he knows damn well that the Malones are trying to kill his ass, and he needs to start paying that interest, or he's gonna be swimming with the fishes. See? Next thing you know, that damn asshole Jim comes out. What the hell did you just say? And then she was like, Benny won't sign over the money. She says, you better get my damn money, bitch. And I'm like, really, dude? First of all, Jim, it ain't your fucking money. It's Catherine's money because they inherited that money from Catherine's father. You only got money because of marriage with your stupid ass. And then you got the nerve to be threatening people and shit? I'm like, this self-righteous white man just makes me want to jump in the screen and choke the living shit out of his ass. Because he really pissed me off. And then he was, you know, talking all this shit. You know, well, Hannah, you got my money. You're going to give me back my money. And he was saying, and she said that, look, I'll talk to my son and I'll get the money. And he was like, oh no, obviously that's not working. So I'm going to talk to him. And she lets it be known, you better not come after my son. And she says, my son's off limits. And she was like, excuse me, I don't need to listen to you, Hannah. And she lets it be known, well, at the end of the day, that's still my boy, and you better not touch him, and you better not do anything, and you definitely not going to threaten my son. So then he pretty much threatens her, and was like, well, then he's like, well, if that's the case, then I'm going to threaten your ass then. And then that damn Hannah dropped the bomb. She says, if you weren't laying around with my daughter, none of this would have happened. And he was like, laying around, and she was like, yeah, laying around with my daughter. He says, no, I was fucking your daughter, because that's what you do to whores. And from the list of things, the apple didn't fall far from the tree. I'm like, oh, Jim, I know you ain't talking shit when you fucking all them whores down at the damn Artesian. Every time you turn around, you trying to put your dick in something with your simple stinking ass. Oh, he pissed me off. And then, you know, pretty much, she was like, you know what? I'm going to get out of here and I'm going to leave. You know, I'm going to leave right now. And then she's like, you know what? I quit because I can't look at this. I can't look at his face anymore. I can't deal with this. You know what? I'm quitting. I'm getting the hell up out of here. And she's like, yeah. And he was like, yeah. And before you go and get into my dead daughter's car. I'm like, oh, really? How long has Amanda been dead? You think she's going to come back from the dead and drive it? Really, Jim? Just an asshole. And then he says that I want you to know that if I don't get my money back, you cannot even imagine of what's going to happen to you. Yeah, because he got real disrespectful, and Catherine was trying to intervene. She's like, Catherine, I'm talking to the maid. I'm like, oh, you got some nerve. At least that woman working for her money. You only got your money by your marriage and affiliations. So you can go fuck yourself, Jim. Fuck yourself with a giant dodo. Forgive me, y'all. He just really made me mad. He pissed me off. So then Hannah leaves and Catherine tries to chase her. And she was like, but then Catherine was like, look, you know, this is yours. I gave it to you. Don't worry about it. Like, and she's like, oh, know what? I'm going to give you back this car. You know, I'm not driving this car. And she's like, but I don't understand, Hannah. And she's like, you're married to that son of a bitch. And as long as you're going to be connected to him, this shit ain't going to work. So she's like, you know what? You can keep the car. I'll be out of your house within the month. And there it is. So she took her shoes. She took her shoes off and literally walked off of that damn because the damn house looks like a plantation. So I'm gonna say she was walking off the plantation, and on her way walking to the bus stop, Derek pulls up, and pretty much Derek can see that she's in distress and she's upset. He's asking what's going on, and she's like, you know, Catherine's trifling ass husband, you know, my daughter stole money from him and it's in my account. I'm trying to return it back, but Benny won't sign off on it. And he's like, I don't understand why they get mad at me. This is not my doing. I had nothing to do with this. This is all Candace. And he's pretty much trying to kill her, like, and she's just going off. And Derek is like, breathe. You know, she's like, look, I gotta walk to the bus. He's like, no, I'll take you. She's like, well, I'm about to walk to the bus, so I'm just going. And I'm like, Hannah, get in the damn car with your crazy ass. Let the man do shit for you. What the hell? But what ended up happening is that she started walking and he got back in his car because he was actually on his way to see Catherine, but then he turned around and followed Hannah. So pretty much afterwards, we see inside the house, Catherine's going off at Jim like, why the hell did you say that? And why did you even talk to her like that? Like, that was totally unnecessary. He's like, do you really think at this point I care? Oh yeah, and one thing happened when Jim and Hannah were going back and forth, Wyatt overheard, what? Hannah has my money? Really? And I was just like, damn. So now Wyatt knows what's going on. And he pretty much told him, they go back in your room, Wyatt. This doesn't concern you. Get the hell out of here. So then we see Jim and Catherine are going back and forth about what happened. And we see that Wyatt is eavesdropping. And pretty much, you know, she's like, why did you even come at her like that? And Jim was like, I want my money and I want it now. You know, like JG Wentworth and shit. You know, it's my money and I want it now. And that's what he was giving. She's like, you know what? You're an idiot and you're such an asshole. I'm like Catherine, I think in most cases she keeps Jim around because, you know, Jim definitely covers up some of her mess. Especially what happened with Jennifer Salison. If that situation didn't happen, she probably wouldn't be fucking with Jim right now. But Jim is pretty much keeping her out of jail. So we pretty much see that, you know, he's overhearing that Candace got the money and all that, so he now knows how it all happened. So Wyatt calls Candace, which was kind of a shocker, and she was like, oh yeah. So he calls up Candace and was like, oh yeah, you know, he was like, yeah, I know you got the $8 million, you know that you lifted off my dad, and then he also tells her that her mother was there, and she was like, why? What the hell you want? And yeah, I got your money. What? And you ain't getting it back. And he was like, well, you know, it's a good thing you pulled the stunt off my dad, but I want to let you know, my mom got more. And Candace was kind of taken aback, like, why are you telling me this? And he's like, well, I hate my parents just as much as you hate your mother. And she's like, well, first of all, I don't trust you, nor do I like you. And he says, look, I don't trust and I don't like you either, but hey, let's help each other out here. You know, I can help you get a bigger score. You can get more money off of my mother than you'll ever get off of my father. And she pretty much says, I'll think about it, and then she hangs up on his ass. And he's like, what a bitch. Like, you already knew how she was going to get down. So then we get a scene where Veronica goes to the Artesian. She sits at the bar to talk to RK. She asks for some hot, steamy coffee. And she pretty much, buys him this shirt to give to Jeffrey, which is actually his favorite color. And she was like, wow. But she says that, but I'm having some issues, of how I'm going to get you guys, how I'm going to get you guys together because, if he was still staying in the condo, I would have just gotten you an apartment on the same floor. But now I got to figure out a way, to get you guys in front of each other. And pretty much RK being cocky as hell was like, oh yeah, I'll get to him with no problem. Just the same way I got to you. And she's like, oh really? And then she gives him this envelope and she says, oh, that's a payment. And then the next thing you know, she just looks him dead in his eyes and she pours the hot coffee on his arm. And he's like, ow, what the fuck? What is wrong with you? And she was like, you need to go to the hospital. He's like, no, I'm fine. It's just a little burn, but I'm fine. She's like, no, you've been burned and you need to go to the hospital because that's where Jeffrey is. And I'm like, this demonic ass bitch. She just don't let up. And then he was like, oh, so then we see that he ends up walking off. And then she was like, this coffee's nasty. Sir, let me get a vodka. And don't be giving me that cheap shit. I'm like, if you don't take your ghetto ass on, I swear, it's like you can It's like she can climb all the heights of success, but she will never leave the south side of Chicago behind, because she is ghetto as ghetto can be with her stuck up ass. Oh my God, Veronica had me dying. So then we get a scene with at the hospital. Jeffrey's looking out for his father. We see that that David has bandages. He's still talking about I want you to go to the house to find that book so I can reach out to Erica's family. I'm like, yeah, you're probably gonna find a whole lot in that book, and you're gonna realize that Erica wasn't the person that you thought she was. And then he starts actually having these, chest pains, but then he was like, he's okay. But then he was trying to tell Jeffrey, but Jeffrey tries to let him know, you need to calm down and you need to, take it easy. And he kind of calms down a little bit. And then outside of the room, we see that Madison is working, and we hear that his phone keeps going off over and over and over. And it's like, him and the woman that he's working with, she was like, damn, somebody bugging the hell out of you. Like, damn, how many times this person gonna call? So obviously this phone's just been ringing off the hook, and we already know it's that crazy bitch Glenn Close, aka Justin, just doing the most as usual. So pretty much afterwards, Madison goes in, to check on David and Jeffrey, and definitely David trying to be Mr. Matchmaker. It's like, so did you guys go out for a cup of coffee? I'm like, I know in your state you ain't trying to hook up your son, but I was here for it because he wants to get his son away from Glenn Close, which I completely understand, because Glenn Close is crazy she's crazy as cat shit on Sunday morning, and don't nobody got time for this bitch, but she keeps doing the most. So he pretty much Madison says to Jeffrey, can I talk to you for a minute? So they go outside the room, and he tells his father, I'll be back. And he's like, take your time. And I was like, I know you're not trying to play, matchmaker. Like, that was everything. So when they get out there, start talking, he lets him know, do you know that your boy called me 10 times? Like, back to back and shit? And next thing you know, we see that he gives Jeffrey a pamphlet on domestic violence, and Jeffrey's like, oh no, that's not what this is. Why the fuck is it not, Jeffrey? Because you can't even take a shit and wipe your own ass unless Justin's there. It's like Justin just pops up whenever the hell he wants to. He disturbs things whenever he wants to, and when you don't give him his way, he's either gonna do something very treacherous or mean-spirited when things don't go the way it does. And pretty much he was saying that, Madison just came out with it like, look, I really like you, and I know back in the day when we were in high school I was fat, but now I really have a chance with you. And Jeffrey's like, you really think you have a chance with me? Yes, he does, Jeffrey. Cut the bullshit. You up in here walking around with, Glenn Close, doing all this crazy shit to your ass. And it just goes back to say before that Jeffrey likes the bullshit. So I'm like, in a way, Madison, you can do a hell of a lot better than dealing with Jeffrey and his old crazy bullshit, But Madison is really into him, and he was saying that, look, he says that, look, I really want to pursue a friendship with you, and I really wanted to be more, but I can't do that with that guy around. And he was like, what do you mean? He's like, and why would you even think that, that what we have is domestic violence? Because he says that you get this funny look every time he comes around. And he's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, I'm about to prove my point right now. And then we see Glenn Close with her mean ass coming around, and all of a sudden we see Jeffrey do that look. And I'm like, called your ass right the fuck out, Madison. Kudos to you, because somebody needed to do it. Jeffrey being all simple and dumb and shit. So he's pretty much, so therefore, damn, Justin is just there, all posted up, like, so, So what you guys talking about? What's going on? You know, I've been calling you and all of this, and Madison was like, you know what? I don't have this to deal with, you know. And like Jeffrey was just like, you know what, I can't deal with this right now. And he's well, actually, wait a minute. What happened was that Madison walked off, and he was like, you know what, I can't. And he's like, yeah, I bet. And then, you know, so Jeffrey's like, why the hell do you keep popping up here? He's like, because I care about you, and I want to show that I'm here for you. And he was like, you can do that over the phone. He's like, yeah, but I don't like that. And besides, you know, I got that place for us, and you've never been by to see it. And then he was like, you know, so Jeffrey was like, if I come over to see the place, would you stop doing this shit? And he was like, well, maybe. And I'm like, dude, like, Jeffrey, why are you trying to compromise with this fucker? He is completely crazy. He wants what he wants, and he's not going to stop until he gets his fucking way. And then while they going back and forth and everything about this shit, and I'm just thinking, like, Justin, like, Jeffrey, if you don't do something to this damn Justin, I want to jump in this screen and beat your ass myself. Because it's just the point that Jeffrey is really starting to aggravate me. But I'm like, yeah, Tyler, yeah, we need to get Justin either put in a straitjacket or put in the ground. But something need to happen to this crazy bitch. But next thing you know, we hear that the machine in the room starts going off, and all of a sudden all the crew of people starts going into David's room, and Jeffrey's in shock because he's like, what the hell's going on? And Madison told him, like, look, we got this, you know, you can't be in here right now, we'll take care of it. And what we come to find out is that damn David, you know, pretty much went into cardiac arrest. The question is, will he live through it? And that's where the episode ended. I was like, oh no, don't kill my David. I mean, even though David does some crazy shit at times, I do like David though. And I like the fact that he loves his son, you know, authentically, and doesn't judge his son. And matter of fact, he's trying to hook up his son. And I'm just wondering, did Justin do something? Because he probably knows that the father is trying to set him up with Madison. You never know, because when it comes down to Glenn Close and her shenanigans, that bitch will pull a rabbit out her ass and put it in a pot and boil it. Just saying. So that's what I have, y'all. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. I'd love to talk to you about it. But subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, follow me on all of my social links. I have them all listed in the description box. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And I'll be back with the next episode of The Haves and the Have-Nots. So until next time, everybody, take care.